paralyzed by a virus in July 2012. Now she's happily divorced and running a growing nonprofit organization called Ryu Paralysis Recovery Center. And through her actions, she's changing the way the public sees people with disabilities. She advocates for equality in all aspects and uses her loud voice to raise awareness. Some of her accolades she's received over the year include the Global's Women of Vision Award. She was also awarded the Top 40 Under 40, the RBC's Woman of Influence Award, and she's currently the reigning Miss Wheelchair Canada. So a few steps forward in her plan to change the world. So I'm very happy to hear you out, Dean. So the floor is yours. And thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much for that introduction. That was really nice. And thank you for having me. Congratulations on the 21st anniversary now this year, right? You guys are doing some amazing work over there. And I was honored to be asked to be the keynote speaker for this event. And I wish I could come to Montreal and meet everybody in person and see everybody's faces, but this is the COVID way. So I'm glad that I just still get to be able to present to you guys. Basically my story is very long and very complex, but in a nutshell version, I was paralyzed almost 9 years ago, and it definitely flipped my life upside down. I did not know what my future looked like. I could no longer work as an X-ray technologist, so I didn't know what was going to come. Unfortunately, when you have a spinal cord injury, it's doom and gloom right from the beginning. A lot of the people when come into your hospital room, they're telling you, you're not going to walk again. You're not going to eat on your own. You're not going to pee on your own. You're not going to have sex again. You're not going to ride your bike. All the things that you're not going to do. And it affected me greatly, as well as all of my peers with spinal cord injuries and brain injuries as well. It's a lot of, like I said, a lot of doom and gloom. If you don't have a strong spirit and if you are not emotionally strong, it's very, very difficult to remain positive when all that's being thrown at you is negativity over and over and over again. I am a very strong emotional person and I do generally stay very positive, but I also fell into a very deep, dark depression. And it took me a while to get out of it. But what happened with me was I did have a virus that attacked my spinal cord. And I was in Las Vegas when it happened. And it was Friday the 13th of all days that I was paralyzed. And, obviously it wasn't something I expected. I had severe pain in my low back. About a minute after the pain went away, I wasn't able to move my right leg. I was trying to move both of my legs, only my left leg was moving. And then a couple of minutes later, it went prickly from my hip all the way to my toes, kind of like a motion. And I was left completely paralyzed from my waist down within about 10 minutes. Being an X-ray tech, my critical thinking skills jump into play. I was thinking what happened to my spine, where my pain was. It was way below where my spinal cord splits. And, you're just going through all of these scenarios in your head of what is actually happening. I spent 12 days in the hospital there and left with a misdiagnosis of conversion disorder. And conversion disorder is where you're so stressed out that your brain tells your body to shut down. That made sense to me because earlier that year, I had left my ex-husband after he beat me up for the first and last time. And at that point, I wasn't able to communicate my feelings. I didn't know how to talk about my feelings and my emotion, and I would just numb myself or sweep everything under the rug and then explode. And that's really just not a healthy way to live or to go through any kind of trauma. The benefits of having this misdiagnosis is when I came back to Canada, the first thing I did was get a psychologist, because they told me that whatever mental block you have to work through it, and most people will get full mobility back within a few weeks. So I was like, okay, I can do this for 2 weeks and Obviously, I'm still a wheelchair user, so that wasn't true. But the therapist is what helped me the most. She really helped me find my confidence. She really helped me see that I am no different sitting than I am standing. And she really helped me fall in love with myself again. And having gone through all of that and everything else that has come my way, I'm really, really grateful for that. I still see her to this day, and I firmly believe that every single human on this planet needs to see somebody who they can talk to, who they can, you know, express their concerns and their struggles and their worries to somebody who they know isn't going to judge them. They know somebody who can give them the tools that they need to move through what they're going through. Over the last 9 years, I've gathered a lot of tools. My tool belt is very heavy and very full, and I get to use these tools to now help my clients and my friends and my followers and anybody who needs help, how to help to get through their struggles as well. So as far as my physical recovery went, I think there's a lot of misconceptions about spinal cord injuries and brain injuries. You know, the Western medical system believes that if you have damage to your central nervous system, that you will not regain anything back. What most doctors say is that whatever you get back within the first 24 months is what you're going to get back, and anything after that, good luck, we don't know. And I really took that to heart. I said, 24 months, okay, well, whatever, I have to get back as much as I can in 24 months. But now, 9 years later, I'm still seeing recovery every day. And, you know, it's not huge monumental changes every single day, but they're little baby steps. And I also found out why the medical community says 24 months. That's because most studies that are done on spinal cord injuries only follow the people for 24 months. And so after those 24 months, they're not being followed. So they could be gaining recovery, most likely they are, but they're not being followed. And so that data isn't collected, and therefore people don't know what's actually happening after that 24 months. And so I find it's really important for doctors even, to tell their patients that this is the data we have, this is the evidence we have, this is why we say this. Because so many people that I have met are so hung up on that 24 months. If I don't get anything back within 24 months, that's it. There's no hope for me. And that is what really breaks my heart. And that's what I really want to change about this world with spinal cord injury. So for myself, so I'm going to be going back and forth here a little bit, but for myself, my recovery started in September of 2012. I was able to wiggle my big toe. And, you know, once I was able to wiggle my big toe, that was a huge day in my house. My mom was crying, making a video, calling my sisters. That was a big day. Since then, it's been slowly coming back. And I was doing a lot of physio here, you know, as much as I could do, whatever I could do on my own as well. But my recovery didn't kick it into high gear until I found out about activity-based training. When I found out about activity-based training, things just skyrocketed. I went to there's a place in Regina called First Steps Wellness Center. I went there and absolutely fell in love with the program. I ended up going to a place in California for 3 weeks, and that's where I just saw incredible results. And the biggest being, so I have a lot of spasticity in my legs. I have a lot of extensor tones, so everything goes straight. In that first year of doing physio here, I went through probably about 30 physiotherapists, and no one could get my ankles to 90 degrees with my knees in neutral. Nobody. On my first week in California, on the Friday, they had me standing on my flat feet with neutral knees. I was amazed. Nobody could help me get there. No one. And so as soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, this works. I'm going to drink your Kool-Aid. Whatever you're selling, I'm buying. Sign me up. And so all of the trainers down there are kinesiologists or exercise therapists. And so I found the University of Alberta here has a faculty of kinesiology. And so I found my trainer. I wanted a student, and that's how I found Nancy. So Nancy and I started working together in 2013. And this is something that she's wanted to do her whole life since she was in grade 7. And it was literally divine intervention that we met, because there's no way that either of us would have met any other way. We are complete opposite people, but that's why we work so well. In 2016, Nancy ended up getting a full-time job offer from CORE in Florida, which is an amazing center that we want to emulate. And I said to her, no, you can't go. I need you more. And so she said, okay, well, if I'm going to stay here, then we have to do something worthwhile. That's when the universe changed things for us. So when I came back from California the first time in 2013, I had franchise papers in my hand. I came back with franchise papers. I knew that the reason I was paralyzed was to bring a center to Edmonton. That's one of the big reasons why I was paralyzed. Another reason why I was paralyzed is to change the stigma of people with disabilities. I'll be honest, I had a little bit of the stigma before I became the person with the disability. And I don't want to impose shame on anybody. It's no need for it to feel bad or anything if you do have this stigma, right? I think that's just, as society, we've never really been taught to treat people with disabilities as equals. And that has to change. It is changing. And I firmly believe that that's one of the reasons why I was paralyzed. Being East Indian and a woman having a disability, I call that the trifecta of discrimination. I live in Alberta. And as you may have seen over the last few months / year, there have been a lot of racial incidences in Alberta. And I'm not proud of it, not proud of Albertans for behaving that way, but that's how I grew up. I was called many names growing up. I was told to go back home. My whole family was told to go back home where you came from, you don't belong here. But all that did was thicken my skin. All that did was give me more courage. All that did was push me harder to make a bigger change and make a bigger impact. After being paralyzed, that's when all of this kind of came to me. And it wasn't immediately after, it was about 4 years after being paralyzed that all of these things, puzzle pieces, started coming together. And that's when I realized, like, Bean, this is why you're paralyzed. This is why. Because in that first year, I kept asking myself, why me? What did I do to deserve this? Why am I sitting in a wheelchair? My idiot ex-husband is running away around without a care in the world. Why me? Nobody had answers for me. Nobody could tell me why. I had to figure that out on my own. And honestly, it was a really, really hard process to find that goal and to find my reason why. I mentioned before that I was in a deep depression. And during that time, I was very, very sad, very mad, very angry, and very, very jealous. Jealous of able-bodied people, jealous that people could walk that I can't, jealous of people going up and down stairs. And, but I learned to use that jealousy as motivation. And my attitude didn't change until I met a girl who had a very high-level C-spine injury. And, you know, she couldn't move anything except her head. And her mom was feeding her lunch one day while we were in the rehab hospital together. She said, my roommate was in there with me, and she said to us, she's like, will either of you guys walk again? And my roommate, she's like, well, this bitch will. And we laughed and stuff, right? And I was overcome with guilt. At that time, I was standing with braces and with a walker, but not independent. I was working my way to being independent, and I knew one day I would be independent. The words that she said next changed my life. She said, I'd be happy if I could move an effing finger. It was that instant that my paradigm shifted. I went from being sad about what I lost to being grateful for what I have. And these I am grateful for every single day. I will never take these for granted, ever. These give me independence. These give me freedom. These give me everything that I have wanted just by having hand function. And so I really, really try, because a lot of my friends are quadriplegics. I have lots of friends who have had stroke. So I really understand the importance of hand function. So I try very hard every day to be grateful, to practice gratitude, and to never take my ability and my body for granted, because I did so much of that before I became paralyzed. Having my mind switched like that, and fast forward to 2016 again, where we're thinking about opening Ryu, the universe opened up every single door for us. They said, here, you need this, now you need this, you need a marketing agency, you need a lawyer, you need all these things. And, by the grace of God and by the universe giving us their powers, we were able to open Ryu Paralysis Recovery Center on April 3rd of 2017. We started with one client. We had one client, and he is still our client, and he is our biggest success story. He, along with many others, have the same story. He had a basilar aneurysm. He was locked in his body at 40 years old. His mind was completely intact. He was very cognitively aware, but could not communicate. And every doctor gave up on him. Everybody said, why bother? Physios would tell his wife, why bother? He's a vegetable. Look at him. You might as well cook him. They literally said that to them. And when they called us and they said, will you help him? I said, absolutely, definitely. One thing, we don't know what's going to happen, but we're willing to try. And so he came, and when he first came to us, the only thing he could do to communicate were his eyeballs would go up or his thumb moved this much, just the tip of his thumb. That's how him and his wife communicated. That's how he made all of his medical decisions. He did everything, and that's how they communicated. He also had a tube feed in his stomach, and he was very contractured, and his legs were very extended. Let's fast forward 4 years, okay? This man has worked so hard. Last year, he took out his G-tube came out. He is now fully verbal. And not just fully verbal, easy to understand verbal. His G-tube came out, like I said. He is drinking, as of last year, he's drinking liquid water out of a straw. And as you know, if there's SLP in here, that is the epitome of swallowing. He's eating steaks without choking. He's now in a power chair that he can drive by himself. His eyes are able to focus now, where he can operate a tablet, a laptop, his phone. So many things have changed because we gave him a chance and we believed in him. Our core values at Ryu are, we never talk about limitations. Never, ever, ever will we ever say, tell me what you can't do. We will never say that. What we do see is potential. We see potential in everybody. And the more quote unquote severe you are, I don't like that word, but the more severe you are, the more potential you have. And what we've seen over the last 4 years, we have 175 clients as of today. What we've seen is those people who have severe labels on them, they try the hardest. They gain the most because they have nothing to lose. They've lost everything already, but they have the most to gain. And let me tell you, they do. The day Anea started talking, he's our first client. The day he started talking, we were crying because we were so happy. We couldn't imagine, we knew something was going to come, but we didn't know what it was going to be. And that's how we kind of approach everybody. We say it's trial and error. We don't know what's going to happen. All we know is you will have an improved quality of life. Now, so with Ryu, our main program is activity-based training. Our program has 4 components or 4 principles. The first being active assistance exercises, where the trainer takes the client's limb through each motion of each joint, but nothing is done passively. We do everything actively. So the client has to think about it and initiate each movement, whether they can feel it or not, whether they can move it or not, whether it actually contracts or not, they have to think about it. That starts the neuroplasticity. Then we do a lot of physical cueing. So we physically cue the muscle so that they can find it, right? So that makes it easier for them to find it. Thousands of repetitions. We do a lot of repetition because that's what the nervous system needs in order to rewire itself. We do a lot of core work. So core, we consider everything from the neck to the pelvis, front and back. And we do a lot of weight bearing, so hands and knees, elbows and knees, kneeling or just standing on your feet, and gait training as well. So gait training is any kind of reciprocal motion. So we do crawling, kneel walking, or just simply walking either over ground with a walker, on the treadmill with the body weight support system, or with the body weight support system over ground. We incorporate all 4 components into each session of our clients' sessions. And we are a fee-for-service nonprofit, so people do have to pay to access our services, which is a hindrance to a lot of people because, as we know, living with a disability is a very expensive life. And most of us are on a fixed income, and it's difficult to find the funds to pay for something like this, which is why we only charge $70 an hour, and we are by far the cheapest center in all of North America, and we hope to stay that way. And with lots of generous donations and by just the sheer volume of clients that we have, we're able to maintain that, which is awesome. Because for us, being accessible and affordable to all has always been our goal and will continue to be our goal as well. So the medical system here, it was kind of a push-pull, push-pull. There's some friction between us. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There's friction. Not on our end. We wanted to work with them from the very beginning, but from their end, there's friction. And it stems from, one, they're saying that there's not enough evidence about activity-based training, which there is a lot of evidence out there. All of our programs are evidence-based. Every therapy we bring into REU is evidence-based. And yeah, there's evidence to support that it does work. But something that keeps coming up and that people have said to us is that we're giving out false hope. And this is something I really want to talk about here today, because I know a lot of you are clinicians and researchers and practitioners and stuff. And so I really want to talk about false hope. So we've been told that we give out too much false hope. And I counteract that by saying there's no such thing as false hope. You either have hope or you don't have hope. There's no such thing as false hope. But what there is false pessimism. So I'd like to talk about that, and I'd like to plant that seed in your head, okay? False pessimism can do way more damage than false hope. And false pessimism has been in the medical community for decades, maybe even centuries, whereas as far as spinal cord injury and brain injury is concerned. Now, the reason why I get so fired up about this is because there's no need for it, right? There really is no need for it. There was a spinal cord injury researcher who said, in the world of spinal cord injury and brain injury, it is doom and gloom from day one, but it doesn't need to be. People who have, if you think of somebody who's just diagnosed with cancer, how are people taught? How do medical professionals talk to people who just got diagnosed with cancer? Do they say, you're going to die? Why are you going to even try? Why are you going to try any therapy? You're going to die. No, they're talked to with love, with compassion, with empathy. They're told all treatment options. They're talked to in a calm voice. They're told, it's in a very loving environment. But when you have a brain injury or you have a spinal cord injury, that's not the case. You don't get that same compassion. You don't get that same empathy. And why? Because we don't have cancer? Because of a spinal cord injury instead? I don't think that's right. False pessimism has caused many people to commit suicide. Many, many people. False pessimism keeps people in depression. False pessimism keeps people on medications that they don't need to be on. It doesn't need to be, right? There's so much power in the words, I don't know. I don't know if you're going to walk again. I don't know if you will ride a bike again. I don't know. And I understand that there has to be a definitive yes or no. People want that yes or no black and white answers, but there is no black and white in this, unfortunately. And I also understand the medical way of thinking because I am an x-ray tech. I did work alongside doctors for 10 years. I understand that, they have to provide worst case scenario. And if anything better than that happens, then excellent, good for you, enjoy it, be grateful for that, right? But as somebody with a spinal cord injury who once was a medical professional, who went through the system as a patient, there are so many flaws. And I think we can work together to get rid of these flaws because they don't need to be there. So that's a big part of what we're doing at REU is we want to try to change the realm of neurorecovery in Canada. We want to change the language used in acute care settings and in rehab settings. There's no need for the doom and gloom. Yes, you can be realistic with your patient. Yes, you can tell them, listen, you have a very severe injury. There's likely no chance that you might feel or, move or whatever the situation may be. But you can also say that with a compassionate voice. You can say that with a tone of empathy. Your body language can convey that you care, because so much of this is, unspoken language, is that's how we communicate. So that's what a lot of what I do at REU is I talk to people all day, every day. And, we try to make sure everybody leaves in a better mood that they came in, because we're humans. Everybody has bad days, that's for sure, right? But what I want to say is that, like, just because you have a spinal cord injury, it doesn't mean your life is over. Any kind of diagnosis that you have, it doesn't mean this is the end. It means that, yes, it's different, for sure. Everything's going to be very, very different. Will it be harder? Yes. Yes, life is definitely hard with a spinal cord injury, but it's so worth living. And that's what I find amongst my friends and my peers who have brain injuries, who have spinal cord injuries. They say, hey, I already came close to death once. I don't want to do it again. I want to live my life. I only have so many days on this planet. I only have this one vessel, this one body, the only one I have. So let's make the most of it. Let's keep this one vessel as healthy as we can. Let's talk about these things that bother us. Let's not hide our emotions. Let's express them, however which way that looks for you. And let's try to promote health, right? I find it funny that it's called healthcare. I find it funny. No one's ever talking about health. We don't ever talk about health, right? And a lot of times you feel like people don't care. So why is it called healthcare? But, there is a lot of, that just means that there's a lot of room for improvement, right? And like I said before, I don't want to shame anybody. I don't want to talk down to anybody either. But these points need to be made, especially to other healthcare professionals, because sometimes we get wrapped up in what we think we know. And there's so much out there that we don't know. And I think we need to really understand that we don't know what we don't know. And I didn't know any of this until I became the person with a disability, until I started researching therapies, until I started finding, my recovery, and I started screaming out on the rooftops about activity-based training, because it actually works. And all it is physical exercise and mindset and brain work. And you're just thinking about it, right? Visualization. There's been studies done on visualization. We know it works. But how does it work? That's neuroplasticity, right? And so this is a new conversation in Canada. Not many people are having it, but that's why I think it's really, really, really important for us to start these conversations, for us to have these, conversations about what can be. And, there's no better starting off point than right now. I talked to my cousin. She's a doctor in Sydney. She just graduated med school last year in Sydney, Australia. And I asked her, I said, what did you learn about neurorecovery? What did you learn about spinal cord injuries? And she said, we didn't learn much about neurorecovery, but we did learn that what our previous thought process has been could be wrong. I was like, hey, I'll take that. I'll take that, right? Because that's a starting off point. If you can start to admit, hey, maybe we weren't right. Maybe we don't know everything, right? That's how we start to learn and grow. And that's how we're going to really push forward. And that's how Canada is going to come out of the dark ages and into the forefront of neurorecovery. Because right now we are in the dark ages. I'm sorry to say, I am a very proud Canadian, but we are in the dark ages when it comes to this. As far as activity-based training centers, REU is one of 5 all across Canada. To put that in perspective, California has 8. Right? There are centers all across the States. There are centers all across Europe, Australia. But in Canada, we're really lacking that. And so I work very closely with the other centers in Canada, because we feel like we need to work together, because we have a bigger voice that way and we can make a bigger impact. Anyways, okay, sorry, I went off a little bit of tangent there. But, you know, life with a spinal cord injury or any kind of neurologic condition can still be fun. And that's what I really want to promote. And that's what I really want all of you to promote in your circles and in your practices or wherever you're from or whatever you're doing. There's so many things that, you know, is my injury tragic and devastating? Yes. But so much good has come from it. You know, there's so many things that I have tried doing that I never would have tried before. I've been kayaking, I've been hand cycling, I tried wheelchair track. I traveled to New York by myself for the No Barrier Summit, which was really, really scary, but really fun. I was asked to be a part of the show on CBC, You Can't Ask That. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you check it out. I learned so much by watching all the other episodes of all these other disabilities and what people actually think who have the disabilities. It's very eye-opening, and it helps you break that stigma, because unfortunately, like I said before, majority of us do have the stigma, right? But watching these kinds of shows and immersing yourself in other people's lives is what's going to bring that stigma down. Yeah. So speaking of the stigma, the way we abolish the stigma is by us, people with disabilities, going out into the able-bodied world and saying, hello, we're normal people too, right? We still deserve respect and dignity. We still have lives. We still have children. We still have spouses and jobs and careers. And we're still, provide, what is the word I'm looking for? Members of society who, are input into economy and all these other things. And the thing is these people are not really in the limelight, right? People don't really see these people talking too much. And so that's why I feel like it's my duty to do this. It's not, it's more than just I want to. I feel like I have to, because I don't really see many other people out there doing it. Now with the power of social media, I see a lot of people on social media, promoting what they're doing and talking about their life and how they've struggled, but they've worked through their struggles to become what they are. And so, we've built a little bit of a community there, which is awesome, but we really need to make that community bigger. So with REU, one of the reasons why we created REU as well was also for that community, to build that community of love and support. And I'm really happy to say that it is very much a huge community, and we had so many people. Like I said, we have 175 clients right now. We have 12 staff members, countless volunteers that we don't have in the facility right now due to COVID, but we have so many people that want to come help and learn. And we really take that opportunity to really show people, because most of our students are most of our volunteers are university students. So we take that time to really educate them about neurorecovery, neuroplasticity. Before you go into OT, PT, or med, go in with an open mind. Go in knowing what you saw and what you hear and what you know people can accomplish. It's changing the minds of people one at a time. One of our biggest goals with REU is to change the world. And people laugh at us when we say that, right? When they say, what's your goal? I said, change the world. They start laughing. I don't laugh, because I'm dead serious. I'm going to change the world. I am changing the world. And how we do that is like this. So today, there are 54 people watching me right now. If I can change one person's mind, then my job is done here today. If I can change one person's mind and thinking, hey, maybe spinal cord injuries aren't that bad. Maybe people actually can recover function, mobility, sensation. Maybe, right? Well, I'm telling you, they can. Given the right support, given the right tools, and given the right environment, you totally can. And yes, I do understand that there are some very severe spinal cord injuries. One of my friends, he has one of those where his spinal cord was completely severed by the surgeon because his accident was very, very bad. So I understand. And so for him, he hasn't regained anything below his level of injury, but his core is way stronger. His bowel and his bladder are regulated. His sexual function has returned. So, let's talk about things in more anecdotal things rather than, you know, hard evidence, which I know we still need, because that's how our world works, is with studies and evidence. But the more we talk about it, the more we bring to it, the bigger these studies are going to get, the more studies will be done, because people are actually talking about it. One of our goals at REU is to become part of a study. We would love to be able to be published. And we are working right now closely with the University of Alberta here to hopefully somehow create some sort of study. But we recognize that this is very important. There aren't very many studies being done right now. Well, there are, but in comparison to, let's say, cancer, there are not very many studies being done in spinal cord injury world, right? And so we need more of them. We need more people engaged in neurorecovery. We need more people to believe in neurorecovery. And, old dogs can be taught new tricks. We believe that. And you know how I believe that? One of my newest clients, she's been paralyzed for 30 years. And she does her own exercises. She does physio and stuff. She stands and excuse me. She does what she can at home, and she's quite fit for being a quadriplegic for 30 years. She started coming to us a couple months ago. Sorry, I have something in my throat. Sorry, excuse me. She started coming to us a couple of months ago, and she's already telling me, why is my core sore? What is this feeling I have? I'm like, that's muscle soreness. That's what you're feeling. You haven't felt it in 30 years, but that's what you're feeling. Her core is getting so much stronger. Her balance is so much better. One of my other clients, she's paralyzed for 26 years. She's also a quadriplegic. She started with us last summer. Just 2 weeks ago, she was on the total gym, able to, with her knees bent, she's able to engage her quads and lock her knees out on her own. 26 years. Okay? It is possible. I'm so sorry, I feel like I'm dying right now. It is possible. Does it take time? Yes. Does it take energy? A lot of energy and a lot of dedication and a lot of brain work, right? Like, it is possible. When people come to us, when they're after their session, they're usually very, very tired, and they go home and they go to sleep and take naps. And we encourage people taking naps, because we all know when you're napping, that's when your brain is rewiring itself. That's when your body is resting, recovering. So we always talk to people about, taking naps and not having any shame around that, right? As adults, a lot of us have shame around taking naps or taking time for ourselves, or, really working on yourself. But that's something else we need to change too, because that's important. If your mental health is not taken care of, your physical health will not be taken care of either. They go very much hand in hand. One very much directly affects the other. So if you're not taking care of your mental health, you're not taking care of your physical health either. And so at REU, we talk about all these things. We work very closely with the Grief and Trauma Healing Center here, because all of us have grief, all of us have trauma. And we are not equipped to really handle that and give people the tools that they need. So we kind of outsource that until we can hire our own psychologist. Oh my gosh, sorry. But there is a lot of hope for people. And, you guys as practitioners and as researchers, I really want you to open your mind to what can be. There's so much hope and so much potential. I would really love it if I could go to a doctor's office and the first thing they say to me is, tell me what you can do. What kind of potential do you have? I would love to hear that, because every time I go, the first thing is, let's talk about your limitations. Tell me what it is you can't do. And, first few years I would tell them, and then I started being like, why am I talking about this all the time? So then I flipped it. So then I said to the doctor, okay, well, before I tell you, can you tell me what your limitations are? What is it that you can't do? Can you ice skate? Can you snowboard? Can you ride a horse? Can you drive a manual car? Can you speak French? What is it you can't do? Tell me, list all the things you can't do, please. I'm going to take notes here, just as you were doing. I will also be taking notes. And the looks I usually get is, what? Well, you asked me about my limitations, and I'm seeing you on a human level here. You're no better than me. I'm no better than you. So you tell me, what are your limitations? And they don't like that very much. But put it in perspective, right? Let's talk about potential. Let's talk about what we can do. And what it is we can't do, let's figure out a way to do it. Everything can be adapted. Everything can be broken down into small little steps. We can work on those little steps for months and months and months until we get them, until we get to the big steps, right? It's so much more than walking. It's so much more than just those big monumental moments. It's those little victories that need to be celebrated by everybody. When we celebrate somebody's little victories, they celebrate them too, you know, and then the big victories, those ones become even funner to celebrate. I want to leave some time for some questions here. So I'm going to wrap it up, but I just wanted to, you know, thank you again for the opportunity to speak to you. I could speak about this for 4 hours straight, no problem. I would love to tell you about all of our clients and all of the victories we see every single day. And we call them miracles. They're not miracles, but we call them miracles, and they happen every single day. And it mainly happens because we believe in people. We truly, genuinely believe in people. And I hope after today, you will too.